Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm creating a little mixed media piece on this cardboard piece, and I really enjoyed working with the cardboard recently when I made my ATCs because I think it's a great surface to work on. It's sturdy and it's cheap, I would say, and it's a good way to recycle your shipping boxes. And it's also lightweight. That's also something I like, and you can just stand it up on a shelf when you have created it. I have already prepped this cardboard with some gesso, and here I have sorted out some of my painted papers that I did last weekend. I did many because I painted a lot of canvases and also bigger cardboard pieces, and then I usually use my newsprint paper pad or just a simple printer paper to put the paint on and also to clean the brushes, and this gives me the most beautiful papers for collage. And here I'm making a viewfinder so I can decide which piece of these collage papers I want to adhere to the whole cardboard piece, and therefore I just cut out half of the size from that folded A4 paper sheet. You will immediately see how this viewfinder is going to work. And with this viewfinder you can just go over your papers and have a look which composition you maybe like, and then you can use this as a background. That also works with a smaller size, of course. For example, if you're creating ATCs, you can just use a viewfinder to find your background on a messy sheet of paper. Here are some that are looking like landscapes, and I really like that. I want to make an abstract piece today, and I want to add some more collages on top and a little bit of stamping and mark making. I really like that pink spot on this arrangement, and this is the one I will probably grab for my work today, but I would just go through the other papers and see if there's something I like maybe more. It's also helpful to turn the papers around so you get totally different compositions. Please excuse the mess on my desk. I have a lot of markers and pencils laying around as I did my 100-day project where I make a color palette every day, and I just make it in a little sketchbook, and therefore I had these collection of markers grabbed because I want to draw something with this color combo I just did, and I don't want to put them away because then I have to search again, and I find it great if I have a color combination and my tools for sketching sorted out, because otherwise I take a long time to find the right pencil when I draw in my sketchbook. Here I have cut out the piece I want to use. I lay the scraps next to me because I maybe can use them on the project, and I will now adhere this paper to the cardboard, and I'm going to use gel medium this time, as this is kind of a small canvas piece and I want to stand it maybe up on a shelf or hang it onto a wall, and then I think gel medium is better than just a glue stick. I'm using it with a simple dough scraper from the kitchen because that's, I feel, the easiest way to apply these kind of mediums. Also, the gesso is applied with it. There is no brush you can ruin, and it's easy to clean, and you get a smooth surface. I'm using the Liquitex matte gel. I love this the most. Unfortunately, it has become very expensive in Germany or Europe, so I am searching for alternatives. I also am not a big fan of buying things that are produced overseas, so I prefer to buy stuff that is made in Germany or in Europe. So I need to find an alternative for this Liquitex product. Also, the Liquitex gesso is my favorite, so if you are in the US, I would recommend using these products. I will now use my catalyst blade to press this paper onto the surface. I use this all the time when I make collages. It's more sturdy or hard than the silicone scraper tool, so it presses the paper more onto the surface, and I really like that for collages because then you don't get any wrinkles in your paper. I will now let this dry and cut off the overlapping edges before I keep on working. And here the paper has been dried, and I can continue adding some collage elements, and I'm using these tiny bits and pieces I have in my boxes. I shared these last time in the video. I want to get rid of them, and for this small piece they have the perfect size. This little square one is from a paper pack I ordered with a Stationery Pal, and I already have the whole unboxing posted on Thursday, so you can watch that if you're interested. They are always very kind and offer me to pick some supplies to try them out and make an unboxing video, and these papers are from that haul, and they are vintagey collage paper scraps that are, I would say, usually used in junk journals or for planners and that kind of stuff. They are perfect because they are neutral, and I already used them on my canvases last weekend, and they are really nice to use them on these kind of projects too. Stationery Pal has a lot of sales going on during this month and the next, and I will also have a discount code, I believe, for 15% off on your whole order. So I will give you that in the video description just in case you need some pencils or markers or collage papers. This one is also from that paper pad, and I really love the font it has. It looks kind of a typo, but it has no serif letters, so I really like that style, and I will use this piece also on my background. I don't like this area very much, but I like the yellow, so I want to adhere something from my messy papers where I have that yellow on in this area. When I make collage over a background, I always see which areas I don't like that much, and these I'm going to cover up. And here I found just a little piece with that pinkish and yellow color. The yellow is the Naples yellow from Schminke, and the pink is the portrait pink from Liquitex. And I really like that piece in this area. To decide where I put a piece, I always have a view through the camera onto my page. I think I tell this every time because it gives me a distance, and that makes a totally different look, and then I can decide more easy what looks good and what doesn't. What also helps is using a mirror and have a look, and also stepping away a little bit. I will let dry this again, and here I am. And I want to do some stamping, and I thought I would like to stamp this bigger stamp here with acrylic paint. It's from the Craft Collection number 3, and it will soon be available as a clear stamp set. I've already ordered them, and I'm just waiting for them to come in, and then I will put it into the shop. The clear set will also include one of the flowers from the Craft Collection number 2, because the clear sets always have a little bit more space to lay out the images compared to the rubber sets. So you usually get 1 or 2 or 3 more stamps on a clear set compared to the same rubber set. So if you like the stamp and you prefer clear stamps, you have to wait maybe 1 or 2 weeks, depending on how fast the shipment works out. Before I'm going to stamp the bigger image here, I'm using just some textures on the background with usual StazOn ink, because I don't want it to be too intense, so I just use that ink. With acrylics it would be not it would be not as detailed, I think, and also it would be much more visible or intense. So I just wanted to have these textures on the background. I'm thinking about where I'm going to place this image, and here I'm making sure that I've positioned it straight onto my acrylic block, because I don't want to stamp it in the wrong direction. And I'm going to use the Payne's Gray paint to stamp it. Before I do that, I think I want to do some more stamping with these numbers. These are from the Mix It Up number 1 stamp set. And the Payne's Gray paint is also the same that I have already on my background. And I like to be everything a bit cohesive. I'm using that mini jelly plate as kind of my ink pad. That works pretty good. Of course, you can just use a piece of paper and then dip your stamp into this. It's not perfect, but I really like the texture I got, and that little empty space gives me the idea to stamp that again directly in this area, and I think that's perfect. I really like it. I thought about stamping it in another area, but I think that would be just too much, so I decided not to do that. And here I'm just cleaning the stamp onto this piece of leftover paint paper, and this will give me some nice options in the future for any kind of texture or background. I like to not waste any paint, so I'm doing that, and often these papers are the most beautiful ones. To decide if it needs something more, I just stand it a bit away from me and have a look at it. But then I decided that I'm happy with it. I will not add more stamping, and I will just let this dry, and then I will keep on working. While this was drying, I grabbed this flower. It's a stamp from the Pencil Marks number 6, and it's stamped, I believe, to watercolor paper. I had this already in my stash, and I wanted to color it in the same colors that I've used for the background. And these markers are the Ardex acrylic markers. I recently got them to try them out and make a review video, what I will post soon on my channel. I had these in a small set for, I would say, over a year now, and they are still working great, and I've already used them a lot in my sketchbook. These are acrylic markers, and they say they are waterproof once dry, which is not true. They are not waterproof. They mix between each other, and that's what I really like about them, because they are almost like Tombow markers, blendable with each other, but they are opaque like gouache paint, and that's a fun thing, especially for my sketchbook. And I thought this style would work perfectly on this piece here, and so I decided to use them on the flower. I am not sure what to do with the stem of the flower, because green is a color that I don't have on the background already, so that's a bit hard to decide. And I also feel the pink needs some more spots on the piece to show up, so I make just some small marks with that pen on my background. And for the stem of the flower, I'm going to use just a watercolor marker, and I decided to pick the earth green from Faber-Castell because it's not a very intense green, and that I think is perfect for this color combo I'm having here. I'm going to glue down the flower with some simple wet glue, I think, but first I will let the markers dry completely. I think you could adhere it with gel medium, but you have to be very quick and a bit careful not to cover up the flower tons of times, so it will reactivate the markers. I don't know what I was talking about, because I did this in the German version, in, I would say, not live, but I talked while I was working, and I don't know what I've explained regarding that stamped image. Yes, I think I will adhere the flower when it's dry, and I think here I'm searching for a black marker to just redraw the black of the flower, because I feel the markers that I've used to color it in are very intense, and I think it looks better to have the whole flower a bit more intense, and therefore I'm using a black marker. By the way, these markers come in 2 sets. They have a 32 set and a 24 set. And I thought, well, then you need only the 32 set and you have all colors, but that's not true. They come with different colors, so if you buy both sets you have more colors. Only the white and black marker are in both sets. But I will tell you everything about this in my review video of these markers, and we will do some swatches of them and some tests. Yes, the flower needs to be dry to adhere it because I don't want to smear it, and what I feel can add to the piece are some mark makings, and I want to use the Neocolor crayons to just make some marks and scribbles here and there on the background to just give it more depth and interest, and that's something I really like to do. And I think although it's not a very complicated step, I don't know if that's the right word, it adds a lot to the piece doing these mark makings. So I usually use colors that are pretty similar to the ones I already have, and that gives you really nice textures. It's something you don't see at the first view, but you see it later when you look a bit longer on the finished artwork. Here I'm just using that flesh color and the white. I will adhere my flower later once it's completely dry, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful rest of the weekend. Bye.